A lot is changing in the UK currently, right now, when it comes to visas, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to work visas, student visas, and overall settlement in the UK. And honestly, if you're an immigrant planning to come to the UK, move to the UK, or you're an immigrant who's already living in the UK, this change is going to affect you more than you think. So in this video, I want to go over one of the articles that was released by House of Commons on the 20th of March 2026 and see how we can break it down together for those of us who are not quite keen or know what's happening. This will help us understand the changes that will be coming, the changes that have already taken place, and also the ones that will be coming very soon in April, and how it's going to affect us and who it's going to affect, and what we need to know, what you need to know as an immigrant going forward. So just stay with me. So, hi, my name is Uveri Laye, and I talk about life in the UK. I talk about immigration and immigration experiences. And I talk about LinkedIn positioning. I talk about career growth and practical tips to help you navigate your journey with more confidence. And if this is something you like or are interested in and want to keep hearing, please do not forget to subscribe and like this video. So let's just jump into today's talk and today's video or today's conversation, how the changes in the UK is going to affect you and I. Let's just see what changes is coming up soon. In the past couple of months, starting from 2025, the UK government and some of the guys in authority have been making plans to make some changes, and they have made changes which took effect in 2025. And recently they've talked about how they're going to make more changes, and this will take effect soon. Some will take effect in April and some will take effect later on in 2025. So what are these changes? According to the House of Commons article, which I'll be reading to you, if you want a full detailed report on what they have written on their article, I'm going to leave the link down there so you can go on and assess it and read it yourself. So this is not my write-up. Disclaimer, I did not write this. This is me taking up this, reading up from the House of Commons library. So it is titled Changes to UK Visa and Settlement Rules After the 2025 Immigration White Paper was released. So this white paper that was released, I downloaded the white paper. It was so detailed, so long, and I just couldn't read it. There was no time to go through everything that the white paper had to tell me. But I like to read snippets like this to just keep me updated. And if you're that kind of person too who likes to have certain things summarized so you can grasp it quickly, well, you're welcome here. So, frequently the questions about the UK government immigration white paper proposal in 2025, including longer qualifying period for indefinite leave to remain. So, sometime in May 2025, the government published a white paper. The document is called Restoring Control over the immigration system. So, according to them, they had lost control of the immigration system and they wanted to restore control. So, the document proposed some changes to make it harder to move to the UK and settle in the UK with a view to reducing the net immigration, with the view to reducing the net migration. So the white paper in itself, according to what the article is saying, by itself does not alter the law or the immigration rules. It only puts forward changes the government intends to make in the future. And some of the white paper's proposals have now been implemented while I'm reading this. So while you're watching this as of today, some of them, like I said before, has already been implemented, while others are still to come. So what changes actually did the May 2025 immigration white paper propose? Now let's just look at some of the changes. Now, they propose about eight major changes they would like to make, and starting from the very first one is to shorten the list of jobs for which employers can sponsor a worker from overseas for a skilled worker visa. So before 2025, we had opportunities of getting employed from your country into the UK. I have a first-hand beneficiary who came employed from my very close relative. In fact, my sister was employed directly from my country, Nigeria, into the UK. So that is no more going to happen. Now, jobs assessed as being medium scheme. So would no longer be sponsorable unless the Migration Advisory Committee recommends on exemption on the industry, demonstrates efforts to recruit domestically. So while they're saying this, they now categorize some of the jobs that they were recruiting for originally from abroad into levels and categories. They call them RQF. I think RQF is required qualification framework. That's what it means. So it has levels 3 to level 5. If you have a master degree, I think you should be on RQF 8 and I think PhD is now the highest. So RQF level 3 to 5 is considered the medium skill. So level 3 to level 5, I think, would be those with higher diploma and those with certifications and degrees. So do your research, do your findings. I would I will put a link that explains what RKF means and what levels your certificate fall under, so you can know what category your degree is as at now. So the first one is they shorten the list of employment from abroad. They categorize some of the jobs according to levels. There's medium skills, there's high skills, and there's actually low skills. And the second change they proposed was ending an existing exemption for social care workers, which is also known as healthcare workers. So the employers would no longer be allowed to recruit them from abroad. So technically, as I was saying, they actually ended the recruitment from abroad for healthcare workers. So as of 2025, it stopped. They no longer, as at the time of this video, recruit from abroad. Anything can change in the future, but as of now, it has ended for healthcare workers only and low skill migrants. So, and the third one was exploring a levy on English universities' income from international students' fees. Some of the schools, as I speak, don't give serious on some of the courses because of these changes that happened to them. And when I came on a student visa, so there is actually a massive drop in student visas and coming to study in the UK because of all these changes. So one of them is they've put a levy on English universities' income from international students. So the students' fees actually has increased over 100 times since I came. I came in 2021, and right now the fee they are paying today is not what I paid when I came. Like, it's much more expensive. And the fourth change was making it harder for universities to keep their license to sponsor student visas by introducing tougher compliance rules. So when you come into the country as a student, like you come to study your BSc or you're coming to study your master's degree, your school is your sponsor. Before you come to the UK to do a degree or a course, you will come into a school or university who will agree to sponsor you. They will send you your certificate of sponsorship, which you're going to use to take to your embassy to apply for visa. So they made it really hard for universities to keep their license to sponsor students. So currently, the number of universities that was sponsoring when I came has actually reduced from what we have right now, and the number is no more the same. So the fifth change is reducing the standard length of the graduate visa. So for international students to stay on and work in the UK from 2 years to 18 months. So actually, when I came into the UK, I finished my study. I went on to another visa they call the postgraduate visa. So that visa gave me 2 years of stay in the UK legally. Now, the government is proposing a drop from 24 months to 18 months on a postgraduate visa if you want to stay on that visa. Now, the fifth one is a stricter English language rules. Now, higher standards for those already taking language tests and requiring the partners of people moving to the UK on work visas to have basic English to qualify them for a dependent visa. So I remember when my sister came into the UK, she had to write the IELTS exam, and so they're actually saying they're going to make it stricter than they used to. I can't remember categorically what band they requested for her for that employment process. I think it was 6.5, or I think it was 6.5 for if you've done IELTS, you understand what I'm saying. So they are making it really tough, increasing the band. But if you're from an English speaking country, whatever grade they want you to present, I'm sure you're able to do it. Just put in more effort. Okay? Now, for dependents coming on work visa, dependents are people who ride on the visas of somebody else. So, like a man and his wife. So, if the man is the main applicant, the man is the one who has the visa. The dependent would be his wife and his children. So, they are saying the wife will have to write English exam to come to the UK to be a dependent on the man's visa. This is just an example so you can understand what they are saying or what I'm saying as well. The seventh change they proposed was increasing the standard qualifying period for permanent residency, which is still a hot discussion as at the time of making this video, also known as indefinite leave to remain or settlement, from 5 years to 10 years, with some people qualifying sooner based on criteria to be decided following public consultation. So as at the time of this video, public consultation has been done and we'll see how that goes. So they are proposing a 10 years wait to become a citizen of the United Kingdom. Okay. And the eighth and final change they proposed was making it easier for people to come to the UK on certain visas aimed or at highly skilled migrants. So this is including those coming with global talent visa and high potential visas. Now, if you've heard about global talent visa, it's a special kind of visa that encourages people with specific kind of skills and knowledge and ideas, and they give them a fantastic leverage on that visa. So those people on such visas, they're going to make it easy for them to get permanent leave to remain, and those they consider as high potential visa. So most of these changes can be made by amending the immigration rules. So they do not require acts of parliament except the level on student fees. So apparently the only one that required acts of parliament is the levy they have put on student fees. I think they must have passed that and approved that already as I speak. I'm not sure, but we can find out. So when are these changes coming in? So people are thinking, when would these changes actually take effect? Like I said, some of them have taken effect already and some will take effect soon. So there is no actual overall timetable for the white paper proposals to come into force. So for the main relevant changes, let me read what they say. They said an initial reduction to the list of jobs eligible for skilled worker visa sponsorship took effect as of 2022 July 2025. Now the revised list will be in place until the end of 2026. This actually also, according to what the article is saying, is actually subject to change. The Migration Advisory Committee is reviewing which medium skilled jobs should be on the list beyond this period. So if you want further detail, go into the article and read more on it. Now, on the second change, the overseas recruitment of social care workers ended last year, July 2022, as well in 2025. And another one, liberalization of the high potential and global talent routes took effect in November 2025. So for you on global talent visa, congratulations to you. I think they actually made the visa even more enticing than every other visas. So if you're able to get a global talent visa, please be my guest. Another change, the regulations to increase the immigration skills change came in effect in December 2025. So they're looking for English, they're looking for levels, high skill workers, etc. All this came in effect in December 2025. Now, new applicants for skilled worker visa, for skilled worker scale up and high potential individual visas have need for B2 English. So it's a higher standard than the previous B1. It took effect from this year, January 8th, 2026. So for those of you who have done this English, I'm not quite sure what a B2 English is because I haven't done this whatever English criterion. I only know PTE and L. So if you understand, I'm sure you know. So if you need more information about that, you can go into the article and look at it. So those are the changes that have come in effect already from 2025 and the ones that have just taken effect in 2026 January. Now, looking ahead, the other changes we're expecting to come will be changes to student visa compliance rules for universities could happen in June 2026. So this could happen later in 2026. More information is in the article. Now, a further adjustment to global talent visa, adding a dedicated pathway for the design industry. Wow. This will take effect from 1st of July 2026. Global talent visa is just getting better. Then also the graduate visas will only last 18 months. And if the person applies from January 1st, 2027, but 36 months if they have a PhD. So if you have a PhD, you have a postgraduate, number of years will be 36 months. If you have a master's, an MSc, I think, It will be 18 months, and this applies from 1st January 2027. So this hasn't taken effect. So those of you graduating soon and who have graduated recently, you still have the 2 years postgraduate visa. Luckily for you. Now, another change that's coming soon is the higher standard English test. So this will be required for you to have your definite leave to remain, because they have actually emphasized a lot of times about how they want to make English a requirement to get permanent leave to remain, and people who are in their country must speak their language, which is English. So they've talked about it a couple of times, and it won't be any surprise if they make this change soon. So this change will come in effect from the 26th of March 2027. Now, the Home Secretary has said that further changes to settlement rules will happen later this year, which is 2026. So, yeah. And the next change, which will be coming soon, is the international student levy. So, this was announced in the 2025 budget. It was at 925 per student per year of study. So starting in August 2028, it will take effect. But then there's a consultation on the details that has been completed. So I haven't read the consultation for that one. If you want to have a look, please click the link and have a look to see details of all these changes happening. Now, will migrants have to wait 10 years for indefinite leave to remain? That's the bone of contention. That is where everybody is panicking and waiting. Like, what changes are they really going to make in 2026? What are they going to decide to do with migrants? Now, the government announced more details of this proposal on the 20th of November 2025. Now, the policy is more complicated than is actually we are talking about it. And they have planned to do two major elements. So qualifying period from 5 years to 10 years, it has two major elements, which I read. It has stricter minimum requirements for being eligible for indefinite leave to remain. And two, for those who meet the minimum requirements, different qualifying periods depending on the individual circumstances. Now, the Home Office Secretary has said that I know one of the videos I've watched, she's talked about if you volunteer, you get time off. If you do this, you get time off. If you do that, you do like so. According to this criteria, will determine when you will get qualified for your permanent leave to remain, if this is passed into law. So the plan changes will be made soon, hopefully. So, according to the article, final decisions are going to be taken following the consultation that finished in February 2026. We had a consultation, and I was one of those who filled the consultation form. It was quite a tricky question, but we filled it, and we got, according to responses, they got about 200,000 responses from concerned parties, and they actually looked at the consultation, and they are considering the consultation for their decision making process, which is quite important. That when you get a petition sent to you on WhatsApp, make sure you fill it up. Don't be too busy to fill up the things before they close, because it affects you as an immigrant. I am an immigrant, and these things actually do affect me. So I pay keen interest in trying to complete them when it's still within time, and do my best to also share the link so others can actually also complete them, as the case may be. So moving on, proposed minimum requirements for indefinite leave to remain. So it says the consultation document says that people would need to meet revised minimum criteria to qualify for settlement. And these criteria include: number one, not having a criminal conviction. So if you're in the UK, you want to live in the UK for a long time, please do not have criminal conviction. If this means, it just literally means that literally any conviction would disqualify the person. This would be stricter than the current rules. Wow. Ignore the siren. So it means there'll be stricter rules than the current rules. So make sure whatever you're doing, counting towards your 5 years leave to remain, pray for God to help you, and do not get convicted. Do not be found wanting. That's just it. And then another criteria would be your annual income, your annual earnings would above £12,570 for a minimum of 3 to 5 years, or an alternative amount of income. I don't quite understand what that means. There will be exemptions from this requirement for people on maternity leave or with long-term illness, disability, and the consultation invited views on whether there should be additional exemptions for other groups. So for more advanced English, also another criteria would be for more advanced English at level B2 instead of level B1. As mentioned above, this has now been added to the migration rules. So this will take effect in March 2027 Only certain visa routes are affected for now, but the government is continuing to consider whether the B2 standard English will be exempted, will be extended more widely. So these are the criteria for which they would consider if you have a qualifying period of 6 years or 5 years, or if you have a qualifying period of 10 years, or maybe you never even get to a time if you're convicted, if you ever get to a point where you get the paper, you get permanent leave to remain. So these are some of the criteria. It talks about no conviction, it talks about annual income earning, it talked about advanced English. There's one that Home Office Secretary was talking about, volunteering and the rest. So yeah. So proposed qualifying periods for indefinite leave to remain. So it says those who meet the minimum requirement will also need a certain length of lawful residence in the UK. So instead of this being 5 years as standard or 10 years in some cases, this would be a much wider range of possibilities. Now, the baseline qualifying period for many migrants will be 10 years, but this would be adjusted up or down depending on the person's situation. For example, people earning over 125,140 pounds would qualify for a reduction of 7 years, allowing settlement after 3 years. What work are you working that you earn 125,000? Is this even realistic? So people in higher skilled jobs who either earn over 50,270 pounds or work in public sector healthcare and teaching roles will qualify for a reduction of 5 years, allowing settlement after 5 years. So if I'm in the healthcare sector and I earn 50,000 and above, I will be qualifying for 5 years as well. Another criteria is people with a standard family visa. Yeah, sponsored by a British citizen, or on the Hong Kong BNO visa would also qualify for a reduction of 5 years, allowing settlement after 5 years. People who volunteer, yeah, that's one. People who volunteer in the community would qualify for a reduction of 3 to 5 years, allowing settlement after 5 to 7 years. So it's just so I thought the word volunteer means house of your own volition. Why are they trying to make it compulsory for you to volunteer and a criteria for you to get a lower year when you stay? Because as an immigrant, we're already stressed. We're already technically stressed. You're on a work visa. God bless you. You have a toxic boss. You're stressed already. Your boss calls you from the blues to walk the walk, and you don't have a choice but to just go do the work on your off days. You're really stressed. You're not entitled to any benefits or any public funds. We're not doing anything. We are currently already stressed. So volunteering should be optional. I know you think otherwise. I am a volunteer. I love to volunteer, but I don't think it is okay or fair to make volunteering compulsory. It is called volunteering. It is voluntary. I don't know how you're going to make me volunteer compulsorily and expect me to give my best. How do I give my best in a compulsory volunteering role because I want to qualify for a paper? Think about it, guys. I don't think that is actually a fair criteria, but yeah, it is what it is. It's not my country, so they run the thing. So on the other hand, the qualifying period will be extended if the person claimed benefits. So please don't claim benefits or immigrants. To be adding 5 to your years or 10 years. Or first enter the UK illegally, adding up to 20 years. So don't enter the UK illegally. Why you even do that? It's a waste of your life. You can't even live freely. You can't earn. You can't walk. You can't move around. You're literally looking at your back every day. You're scared. Don't live like a fugitive. Live legally and enjoy the fruit of the land. Enjoy the weather, because already those of us that are free are actually stressed already. So imagine if I'm not free, I'll just go back to my country. I can't go through the stress. It's just too much. Some people might both qualify for a reduction and be penalized in this way. So meaning that there is a range of possible outcomes between 3 and 30 years. So please don't come in illegally. In addition, there will be different approaches for certain groups. So for people in jobs considered low skilled or medium skilled, the baseline starting point for the calculation will be 15 rather than 10 years. This would include social care workers. What have social care workers actually not done to you guys? They work the hardest out there. They take care of your sick people, of your elderly, and they're considered low skill. That's all I have to say. For people granted asylum in the UK, it appears that there will be a 20-year qualifying period with no reductions, possibly unless the person takes up work or study. So if an asylum seeker, the only way to come out of this rat race is to take up study or take up work. And in this case, you could earn a reduction from a 20-year baseline. You heard that. So the proposed changes, aside from minimum criteria and qualifying period, means the consultation also said that accompanying family members of people on work visas would need to qualify for indefinite leave to remain in their own right. This is so weird. In their own right, rather than alongside their sponsor. The Home Affairs Committee has highlighted that it is currently unclear how these changes will apply to children, especially children who turn 18 before their parents achieve settlement. Now, this is so unfair. The consultation also floated the idea that those granted settlement might no longer gain access to the welfare system as a result. They would stay on resources on recourse to no public funds. I don't care about public funds actually because I'm living already without public funds with the right to claim benefits restricted to British citizens. Which immigration criteria will be affected by the settlement changes? Now, most of them, even if some groups remain eligible for permanent residency after 5 years, people in those categories, such as stay-at-home parents with no income, might be unable to meet the toughened minimum requirements, and people with post-Brexit residency rights under the EU settlement scheme are entirely out of the scope of the changes. The consultation asks for views on whether other groups such as victims of domestic abuse and children who grew up in the UK should also keep their existing settlement rules. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. Then will people already in the UK be affected? So that's the big question. Those of us who already started our journey, already counting towards permanent leave to remain, is it going to affect us? Is it going to affect us? Like really? Now the constitution said that we propose to apply these changes to everyone in the UK, in the country today, who has not already received indefinite leave to remain. Now, this will mean that those who are due to reach settlement in the coming months and years will be subject to the new requirements for end settlement as soon as our immigration rules have changed. Wow. And this is subject to final decisions following the consultation, so which invited views on whether there would be transitional arrangements to exempt some people already in the UK, like refugees and people already in the UK. So adults accompanying and unaccompanied children granted 5 years leave as a result of an asylum claim or further submissions made by 1st May 2026 will remain eligible to apply for settlement after 5 years under the appendix settlement protection. When will the immigration rules be changed? Now, the Home Secretary originally said that the plan change will take effect in April, which is a few days from now, April 2026. He started on the 5th of March 2026. She said it would be done later this year and reportedly told Times that it will be in autumn. So autumn, some other changes will be made. Now, this does not necessarily mean that the immigration rules changes once published. Once published would come into force immediately. It could be left until 2027, like the B2 English change, which was written in immigration rules in March 2026 to come into force. Okay. So we've heard nearly everything. We've seen the MPs going. Some of the MPs are not in support of this. Some of the MPs have rejected these changes. Some signed such a notion, and they may however be so there's still debates technically going on about the proposed changes coming up, and we will see how this goes. So, as an immigrant, for one immigrant to another, I'm going to be ending this discussion here because it's taking too long. Please jump on the video and have a look at the link to see for yourself what changes are coming. Go into details and see every other link that matters, that explains in details what we have talked about today. But what I would tell you, I said to somebody who phoned me and said, "Are you not worried about these changes?" Yes, I think about these changes once in a while, every now and then, because it pops up on the media every now and then. And I cannot say it doesn't come to mind or it doesn't disturb me. As an immigrant, I have moved everything I know from my country, Nigeria, into the UK, and I've decided to start my life afresh in the United Kingdom. And you're making changes, you're changing the goalposts. Because when I came to the country as a master's student, what you told me when I came was that if I get a job, be on a work visa, after 5 years, I will get qualified. All things being equal, I don't commit any crime. I don't take public funds, and I've done my best to do all the things. And then the Home Office wakes up and says they're going to retrospectively make all these changes to affect people who are already in the UK. While I don't find this really funny or consoling, it's quite a disturbing news. I'd like to say something to you that don't stop living your life, right? Don't stop working on your goals. Don't stop working on yourself. If you have started a journey, you've come to the UK, it's not the easiest thing to do, start over. You can actually do it again because God has given the grace to start afresh. You can do it again if the need arises. And don't feel like your life will end in the UK. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to start and end in the United Kingdom. There are lots of amazing countries out there who will accept you the way you are. But then I understand the burden of starting all over. But then don't stop developing yourself. Don't stop growing. Don't stop gaining knowledge, because you never can tell where you would need to use the knowledge. So don't think that this is the end of it all. Whatever changes they implement on the 1st of April, or whenever date they want to implement the change in April, should not stop you from pursuing your goals. Okay? I will see you in my next video. Keep winning and stay positive.